Today, I am reviewing the HISTTON Fanless Mini PC Core i7-8550U. If at any time you'd like to explore this product for yourself and grab it at a great price, be sure to check the links below the video. If you are looking for a sleek, gaming-focused desktop that glows with RGB lights and fits in with your modern desk aesthetic, stop watching right now. This HISTTON Mini PC is not for you. But if you're someone who needs a machine that never makes a sound, runs 24/7 without crashing, or needs to control legacy hardware in a workshop or an office environment, then this might just be the most practical piece of tech you buy all year. I have been putting this industrial-grade box through its paces for the last 2 weeks, and it is a fascinating piece of hardware that occupies a very specific niche. The first thing you notice when you pull this out of the box is the weight. It is not some cheap plastic toy. The entire chassis is a heavy-duty, ribbed aluminum block that acts as a giant heatsink. Because there are no fans inside, this thing is completely silent. I mean, dead silent. You could put this in a bedroom, a library, or a sound-sensitive recording booth, and you would never know it was powered on. That is a massive win for anyone tired of the constant whirring of traditional PC cooling fans. If you want to check out the current pricing or see the specific configuration I am using, you can find the links right below this video. Now, let's talk about the processor. It is running an Intel Core i7-8550U. I know what you were thinking because I thought it too. That is an older chip. It is not going to win any speed tests against the latest silicon, but for the intended use of this machine, it is actually a smart choice. It is efficient, it runs cool enough for a fanless design, and it is more than capable of handling office multitasking, web browsing, and server-side automation. During my testing, I had it running a media server and a local dashboard for my home automation, and it didn't even break a sweat. However, if you are planning on doing heavy video editing or playing modern AAA games, you will hit a wall very quickly. The UHD 620 graphics are strictly for display output and basic media playback, not for performance tasks. The real star of the show here is the I/O. Most modern mini PCs give you 2 USB ports and maybe an HDMI if you're lucky. HISTTON has packed this thing with 6 RS, 232 serial ports. If you are a hobbyist working with industrial machinery, CNC controllers, or older point-of-sale systems, you know how hard it is to find a modern computer that still supports serial connections natively without a bunch of finicky USB to serial adapters. Having these built directly into the motherboard is a massive convenience and provides a much more stable connection for sensitive equipment. You also get dual 2.5G Ethernet ports, which makes this an excellent candidate for a dedicated firewall or a small-scale server. In terms of reliability, this thing is built like a tank. I left it running for 4 days straight with a heavy load, and while the aluminum casing gets warm to the touch, it never throttled. That is the beauty of the fanless design. There are no moving parts to fail, no dust being sucked into the intake, and no bearings to wear out. That makes it a fantastic choice for environments that are a bit dustier than your average home office, like a garage or a small workshop. However, I have to be honest about the downsides. First, the setup process is a bit utilitarian. This is not a consumer-grade plug-and-play experience designed for the average user who just wants to check email. It is an industrial machine, and the BIOS and driver setup reflect that. It is perfectly manageable if you have a bit of technical experience, but if you are buying this for a non-tech-savvy family member, you might be setting yourself up for a long afternoon of troubleshooting. Also, while it supports Windows 11, the older processor architecture means you are getting a machine that was clearly built for stability and legacy support rather than cutting-edge speed. Another point to consider is the internal storage and memory access. While it is great that you can expand the RAM and storage, getting into the case requires unscrewing the chassis, which is not as convenient as some of the toolless mini PCs on the market today. It is a one-time job, but it is worth noting if you plan on upgrading components frequently. Also, the Wi-Fi performance is perfectly fine for basic connectivity, but if you are planning to use this as a primary server, you should definitely use those dual LAN ports instead. Who should actually buy this? If you are a developer, a network engineer, or someone who needs a reliable, silent computer for a home server, a home lab, or a specialized workstation that requires serial connectivity, this is a fantastic value. It is a workhorse. It is not flashy. It doesn't have the latest flashy CPU, and it is not meant to be a gaming rig. But for 24/7 reliability and industrial-grade connectivity, it is hard to beat at this price point. If you decide to pick one up, remember to check the links below the video to see the current availability and pricing. Before you pull the trigger, just make sure you really need those serial ports and the fanless design. If you don't, you might find more raw speed in a cheaper, fan-cooled mini PC. But if you value silence, reliability, and that specific industrial I/O, the HISTTON Mini PC is a tool that does exactly what it promises without any unnecessary fluff. It is a practical, honest machine for people who need their computer to just stay on and keep working day in and day out.